Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Artist Coaching Podcast. I hope you all are doing great on this beautiful Wednesday. It's a it's a decent Wednesday right here. It's not too great weather, but also not too bad. Typical Dutch stuff. Let me see because Jopke is winding in. Look
Hey,
who's late.
I'm very late.
Very late.
Lost track of time while having delicious lunch.
Delicious lunch. Oh, there you
Yeah,
go. How are you?
so, good. Tired as fuck.
Tired from what? Don't say
Not
golf.
sleeping.
Ah, sleeping from the baby.
Babies, like two kids is like the perfect combination of the one sleeps through the night, finally, and then the other one starts acting up.
Ah, perfect.
So you never have a
Well,
night off.
it's gonna be an energetic episode then because my brain is pretty fried as well.
Yeah, but maybe we should just chill and just chat about bullshit.
I think that's gonna be the setting of today. I was so caught up into writing the book this morning. I also forgot track of time. I didn't even prepare anything for the episode. Let's
Right.
let's that's the setting for today. I
Well,
hope you
nice.
guys can kind of match the energy.
Yeah, chat. What's going on?
Yeah, what's up, chat? I see Michael Foden coming in, Mako, Viper, Jamie Strive, Bit3, Josh Atishay is here. Happy Wednesday. Martin Stevenson is here. If you're here and if you haven't dropped a hi yet, then make sure to do so. Um, Ralph won't be here today because he is in Ibiza. Not sure, is he there on holiday? I don't know actually.
I think they have a show there.
Is it? Ah, okay. It's not the opening, right?
I don't know.
No,
Opening of
don't.
what?
What's up, Rob Pollard? Welcome to the
Hey,
chat.
Rob.
Welcome to the chat. Anyway,
There's a
how's
new
your week
name, huh?
been?
There's a
What?
new name, I think, in the chat, or not?
I think Rob was here last week as well, but I'm not sure. Hey, Esther is checking in on his European tour. Lion Harris, what's up, man? We have the whole world checking in right now. That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. We're
Ah,
very excited.
for,
we are
if you're
we are
checking
excited,
in,
but we're just a bit slow, guys. So sorry.
yeah, my brain is really fried. Like, I'm not sure how that is for you, but
This is
creative
the thing.
people are not built for writing.
Well, I think we are, but we're not built for kids.
Well, I manage kids. It's just the writing that really drains me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you know how this is always the thing with working out. So I worked out this morning, and sometimes you have no energy, and you work out, and you have all the energy back, and it's like, yes, it was the right thing. And
Yep.
sometimes you're tired, and you're like, I need to work out, and you realize you're draining yourself more and more. And I'm afraid that happened a little bit.
You burned the last energy available.
Yeah, I really feel like, oh, I should take a nap. And if I don't have that feeling often, so
Why
when I
don't you?
have that feeling, I'm really tired.
Why don't you? I see a beautiful couch in the background. Like I sometimes just lay down on the ground for 10 minutes and do a power nap.
I do, but in the studio never actually.
Hmm.
But at home I sometimes do. Um, yeah, but
Power
I
napping
guess
is a life hack.
yeah,
It's hard.
yeah.
It's hard. It's still hard for me to kind of do it, but once you
Oh, for me it's easy.
you just wake up so much better.
For me it's easy. Mikey Foden, did I practice my golf swing? Yes, I did. Also because this Friday I am participating in a official event from the KLM Open golf tournament,
You're
where
becoming
it's
a
called
golf influencer, my
it's
man.
yeah, yeah, it's called Beat the Pro. Um, so what happens is there's a golf tournament called the KLM Open, which is on the DP World Tour, so that's a pretty big thing in the golf world. And I am invited by the KLM Open to on a certain hole try to beat the pros. So there's a flight of pros, so three players who are going to hit their ball, and then it's my turn. So in the official tournament, and then if my ball's closer, I win something. Or, but I'm just I'm fucking terrified um, of like hitting a very bad ball. But yeah,
Imposter
it's
syndrome kicking in.
definitely, yeah. And it's funny because I thought about this. In the music industry, I finally feel like, oh, I kind of belong here, and this is what I do. And now I realize I'm doing the same in golf as I did in the music industry. I'm like, and I think it's very funny because it's like I don't really belong there. And then I'm like, hey, I email them like I'm Jay Hardway and I want to participate, and they're like, okay, there's a spot on the Friday.
Fuck.
And I'm so terrified now, and I'm like, what have I got myself into? Like, it's really one of those things where I'm stepping out of my comfort zone,
Hmm.
which I realized when I signed up, and now I was like, oh, that probably won't come through anyways. And now I'm in it, so it's
Okay.
fun. But
And is this thing going to be live streamed, or how can we watch it
no,
film?
I'm playing early in the morning, so I don't think there's a television stream yet. But
Okay.
otherwise, like normally, if you would play the afternoon, there was an afternoon spot available, which I couldn't make it the other day. But then it would be millions of viewers worldwide. But I don't have TV coverage, so I'm bringing my girlfriend, and she's gonna film. So it's gonna be a little vlog. So it's gonna be fun, I think.
What was more important than getting millions of viewers?
What was more important? What do
Yeah,
you mean?
because you weren't able to make it at that time slot.
Oh, a studio session.
Okay.
Yeah, with Jim Van Hoof,
Van Hoof.
and it's like it really was one of those things where I kind of was happy I had something else, and also like that's my main job, so I shouldn't like sacrifice that for something that's really like a gimmicky thing to do. Anyways, it's not gonna bring me anything. It's just something for me to step out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. Do you still view golf as your hobby?
Passion,
Passion. Okay.
passion. I don't do hobbies. Like I don't see the benefit of calling something a hobby. It's talking it down a little bit. Like, oh, that's hobby and that's work. I try to do everything with passion, anything. So even if it's like cleaning the house, it's not like a chore. It's like
It's passion. Full
let's do
passion.
it. Yeah, full force. Like I
Yeah.
think that's the way to go.
I see many people are into power naps as well.
People are active in the chat.
Yeah, they're active.
Nice.
Active. I think that's because we're not. So they're hyping us up. Dude, do you know those feelings where your brain is just fog, as in
Yeah.
it's really hard to think clearly? I think last week I had the same thing. I really should
Yeah, yeah.
quit
You
quicker.
you shouldn't write, bro.
Yeah, I should quit quicker before, like way before the podcast, I think.
Maybe.
Anyway, I see Foster and Galado entering the chat. Gerard Francis entering the chat as well. We see the first questions coming into the Discord as well. So to everyone listening right now, if you want to ask us a question, make sure to drop it in the Discord. And if you're not part of the Discord yet, the link is in the description.
Become a
Become a
member.
member there. I noticed we're already approaching, I think it was 800 people,
Nice. That's a lot.
something like 800. Yeah, and it's getting more active as well. That's really fun to see. And by the way, that 30-day challenge, I want to mention that, by the way, because the 30-day music challenge ended
It's
last
over.
week. And let me just
Everybody's
think.
still in it. That started it.
I'm not sure if everyone's still in it, but I did see a lot of action in there. So I'm just going to name a few of the names that at least I know made it to the end. Johnny Prost, Mikey Foden, which is in the chat now as well. Lancy
Hey.
Green, The Executioner, Johnny Prost, Joost van Hooy, um, Oskan Erdem. Yeah. So that's at least the names I know. I'm not sure who else did it and not necessarily posted it, but it's been a very interesting challenge because what I noticed for most people as feedback is that they
Yeah.
didn't expect it to be so impactful as in the whole challenge was making 30 minutes of music for 30 days straight. And the whole idea was to create a habit of it and to just push through the resistance and sit down every day and do the work. And a lot of people really benefited from it. So I'm definitely going to organize these things more often. Those challenges has a real positive effect on a lot of things, to be honest.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think that's one way to, yeah, get your creativity going. And sometimes you need a little hand or someone else to join you in that challenge as well. So it's
Yeah,
good
that
that you're doing it with the Discord.
yeah, I think it's
Um,
the accountability part as well, so that you see
yeah,
more people doing it. That's what we noticed as well. That random people came in like on day 12, for example, and mentioning like, "Hey, I saw a lot of activity here and kind of motivated me, so let me join in." Because you
nice.
saw daily
I
messages coming in.
I even did it sometimes here with when Tom and James, they're now not here in the same building anymore. But when they we did like sometimes I would walk in, hey, let's in half an hour build a beat,
Yeah,
like even if it's a lo-fi beat or a house beat. And because you did that, you were just like, you don't give a shit about how it sounds. You just were like, let's go. And
yeah,
then half an hour later, you had really cool ideas sometimes.
yeah. You
Um,
eliminate the barrier of overthinking things.
yeah, you have to come up with something. So it's and like you said, you hold each other accountable. So it's like if you don't, the other person is going to be disappointed in you. Whereas if you do it to yourself, a lot of times you're already disappointed in yourself anyways, because that's how a lot of brains work. It's like my golf swing. It's like not there right now, and it's like, yeah, of course it's not there.
I
Well,
suck.
you should rewire that, and I think that's humans have a tendency to think the negative.
Mm-hmm. True.
In traffic, this is such a big thing for me. When two lanes become one lane, you have to drive all the way to the end of
It's a
that.
rule.
It's the law, it's the
Yeah.
rule, and it makes sense. You have to drive all the way to the end, and there you merge. Because, and this is for everybody that's listening that drives a car, because if you do that, you use up all the available road space and it doesn't back up as far. So, like other intersections won't be bothered as much because there's still traffic, but it will be further ahead. And every time I drive to the end, a lot of people stop and like merge way too soon. I always drive to the end, and people always assume I'm an asshole, and that's just what they assume. They assume the worst. While I'm like trying to get everyone, um, I'm trying to help everyone.
And what does
By
that
by
say about you?
I'm smart, they're dumb.
Yeah, that's
What does
probably
it
the
say about me? Well, it's like I yeah I can't. I still have to accept that that's just how groups work. They just think, oh, you have to wait in line, so I now wait in line. You know, um,
Martin Stevenson in the chat says, "Bro, we went from making beats to golf to driving cars in under 30
yeah,
seconds."
but that's today. We're allowed.
Yeah, that's the
Give us
vibe.
a week off. Like let us chat about
And he also asked,
daily shit that annoys us.
yeah, do you know that from Family Guy, like stuff that grinds my gears?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
that's that.
fun.
It's traffic in general. I there's it. It's so some rules are make so much sense, and people just they like people merging into the highway. Just step on the gas.
Yeah,
Don't
just
come in with 60. The limit is 100, and
exactly,
people are
exactly.
so scared. And yeah, but merging is my number one of what grinds
Frustration.
my gears.
Dude, talking about like what's it called? Like
Golf.
no, talking about like cars and having people like losing their minds in the car. Last week, around the corner, back at my place, like in another home, a car crashed into the garden because they got a fight on the highway. They started chasing
Wow.
each other into our village. The guy lost the control over the car in the corner, and he just drove through a garden where a woman was sunbathing.
What?
Like, how far do you let traffic
Yeah, yeah.
craziness go? Like
Well, there's a theory of this, and I don't know if it's a real theory or I just heard it somewhere, and it makes total sense. In the car, you are on edge because things are moving fast. It's dangerous, So your body is, even though you can be relaxed driving, your body is still like quite on edge. So then when something happens that is not, that is like endangering you, you just, that's why people get so aggressive easily,
hmm,
because you're kind of like on edge because it
yeah,
is dangerous. Your body thinks, hey, we're moving 100 miles an hour or kilometers
yeah.
an hour.
So it's
That
about
is
safety.
dangerous. So but yeah, the whole road rage thing, I never.
People lose their temper so
Yeah,
quickly,
yeah,
man. It's insane.
yeah.
And by the way, Martin, I did not get tested for HDAD. I think if I would be tested, I'd probably have some symptoms. But hey, let's not label it. You know, I have a creative brain. Things go from left to right
It is a
quickly.
hype to have ADHD now.
Yeah, or
Oh.
ADD. Like it's one of those two.
Yeah, it's
And
like people use it as a joke, like, oh, I have
yeah,
that probably.
I
No, you
kind of
just
feel like
lack discipline.
yeah. Oh, dude, I just wrote a whole piece about discipline in the book.
It took you a
It's
lot of discipline to write it,
it's
didn't it?
it's it's getting there. Like I really feel like we're approaching the end here. Like I've been redacting. Is it redacting? I've been redacting
Reducting, yeah.
a lot today and switching things up and like I don't know, like stylizing a lot of things, but it's getting there. I'm gonna give it a test read to my girlfriend and see how she reads it, but I think it's gonna be fun.
Martin, no, I also didn't get tested. So, but I always feel like it's just like I could be,
Yeah, same.
but it's one of those things. It's not gonna matter. It doesn't interfere as much, I think, with functioning. So then why would I get tested? I once,
Uh,
yeah. So yeah.
are you also gonna write something about procrastinating, or are you gonna do it another time? I just actually put out a whole
Dude, that
article
is
about
that
procrastination.
question is a whole joke in and of itself.
I'm probably gonna do it tomorrow. Let me link you to the article. I just posted it last week. I actually wrote it last week. Um, it's in the chat. Book version 10, final car tests version 7. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Exactly. Okay, let's dive into the Discord and see if there are any questions.
Already, there's
Yeah,
no
sure.
hasn't been a tune yet.
Oh yeah, should we do clip of the week? I have a clip of the week. Yeah, let's do.
Hey, that's always
Hey,
fun.
and I cut the
Clip of
yeah,
the week.
exactly. I cut it. Let's go.
Clip of the week.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's it. That's all
Yeah,
it
that's
needed.
fun.
Just a
That's
small
fun.
trim.
That's fun.
Um,
Where is it?
clip of the week. So let me share my screen with you all. It's from our brother Martin Garrix.
Yeah, I think it's pretty scary. I think I'd like to have some sort of regulation or some type of stamp that can show to the consumer if it's created with AI or without. I think it'll become. I think it's gonna be everywhere that you cannot deny it at one point. I think the whole making music with prompts is fucked up. But like if you use it for like background vocals or harmonies or vocal restoration, then it's more of a tool. Yeah, I think it's pretty scary.
Okay, so this was Martin Garrix. You heard talking about the use of AI in music, and I actually just saw something new coming out that big labels are thinking about making a deal with Suno and stuff to give them license to sell licenses, so that they have to avoid all the lawsuits that will probably come. Not sure how that works technically, but I saw a news flash coming by. But I think it's a relevant topic, and then we talked about it in a few of the coaching sessions last week as well. I just noticed that a lot of artists are thinking about it, not necessarily struggling, but like are thinking about it, like how is this going to impact what I do, my hobby or my job, whatever it is for you, but it is going to change something. And this is how Martin thinks about it. So he mentions that making music from prompts. So coming up with something new just by putting in a prompt is not a good thing, but using it for as a tool in your music production could be useful. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts on. And if you're in a live chat right now, let us know as well what your thoughts on the whole AI case is. But what are your thoughts, Jay?
It's inevitable. That's it. Video, audio, everything will be promptable. If you see the VO3 or VEO3 of Google, how crazy good that already is,
Hmm.
by just using prompts and what video comes out of. With music, it will be the same thing. And I think regulation, it's too late for that. I think all the AI is already trained from music that is existing, and it's all out there anyway. So how are you gonna how do you say that? Put the genie back in the bottle? That's not possible.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think regulation, I wouldn't see how, other than yes, there will be some lawsuits and whatever. But the truth is, like, people will be able to create music from a prompt. People with no music skill, it's already possible. Very like very high end with Suno. It's crazy how good that already is, and it's still bad. Let's say, if you know what I
Mhm.
mean. So it's bad, but it's already way better than I expected like a year ago. Um, so I think, yeah, it's something you have to, if you run a business and you're dependent on your skill as like that's your main selling point. You have to really think about how you're gonna. I'm trying to be Ralph also because Ralph's not here. You have to be like, if that's not gonna set you apart anymore, maybe. So if you're reliant on, hey, I am a really good producer, that's my big selling point. That's not going to be such a big selling point because anybody can make music in the future. So that's something you have to consider.
Yeah, the skill has become
Um,
obsolete.
it's gonna be obsolete for
Yeah.
sure. Even and like, of course, it's extreme to build a whole song with a prompt, but you also have to think about, hey, EQing, or you're just gonna talk to your DAW. You're just gonna say, hey, I want the kick is too hard, or and it's just gonna change it for you. So it's gonna be way more of a creative process. But what I will say to everybody, business wise, you have to think of that. Um, Luckily, I'm not trying to run fully as a business, and I can always make music. This is the beauty of making music.
Yeah, but that's when it's your hobby.
No, no, no. I don't
Yeah,
agree.
because
Yeah, but
if you make money from music, and that's your income and you're depending on it, then yes, you can keep making music, but things
yeah,
will
exactly.
change.
Well, you don't have to change, but that's like
No, but the
I
world
can,
will change. So if you
yeah.
are like, let's say, a film scripter who makes
Mhm,
background music,
mhm.
gonna be a
Find
tough
a
one.
different way to make money, but if your passion is music, you can still make music, you
Yeah,
know?
I
So,
get that. Like you can still keep making music
yeah.
as a hobby, but as a job, you should pivot or think about different ways to make money because
Yeah, but
making background
that's
music for
I
music.
think in a way that's irrelevant. Because I
What do you
think if
mean?
something is your passion, you should fit it into your life regardless.
Yeah,
So I
sure, but
think,
yeah, I agree. But we're talking about if this is your job and if you want to keep making money
mhm,
from this
mhm.
in the future, like how
Yeah,
should
I
you
mean
approach it then?
that can be, if that's your goal, then talk to Ralph. You know, I'm not the guy
Yeah.
to.
I think in general, what always has been the case and will remain to be the case for at least the next couple of years is that you want to build a brand for yourself because that's what makes you stand out from the crowd for now. Um, a lot of things will become like mediocre and will become generalistic, as in the same, because everybody uses the same prompts and the same sounds and all the stuff. Um, but having a brand and having a personality, that's what brings people in, and that's what
Yeah,
builds the connection with your fans. So
story.
exactly, again, the best story wins, and I think that that is still the case. So for artists who already have established brands, it might become not necessarily easier, but they have a more higher probability to survive
Yeah,
in this era. And if you're still building your brand, like you should really consider building it, keep building it, and find
yeah,
a way to be able to yeah to be able to keep doing it in the future because like that's kind of the only thing that's going to set you apart in my honest opinion. You know, it's your
yeah, yeah.
personality, it's your authenticity. and all the rest
Yeah,
of
and
the
of course,
skill is gone.
my whole remark of you can still make music is partly a joke because I think it's always funny when people say like, "Oh, you can't make music anymore in the future." No, you still can. Don't worry,
Yeah,
you know. But that's why I fully agree with you that you have to think. That's what I said in the beginning as well. You have to find something else that's your unique selling point because the skill of making music is not going to be respected anymore. And I mean that in a way of course, there will be people who think it's amazing how you make things and how you can be creatively doing that. Like someone like me, I have a big following on Instagram, so people will be already viewing, and then it's quite interesting, I think, to see how I make stuff. But if you're starting out, then it's going to be so hard to have
yeah.
that.
Because the
Um,
biggest challenge as a starting artist is to build an audience, right? So
yeah,
how are you going to attract that audience? By showing something different, showing
yeah.
something authentic.
Yeah, showing you.
Yeah,
And
showing
they have
you.
to you have to luck out that they will like you. And I think that goes
Yeah,
for every content you put out. If it's you, then you have the biggest chance of becoming an established artist, I think.
yeah, because right now already, but also in my opinion, in the future, it will become more and more important to establish relationships with your fans, to build deeper relationship with your fans over just having like surface relationships with
Yeah.
people, like investing time in your community, investing time in your socials, interacting with those people, putting up real life events where you meet those people and shake their hands and hug them. Like those things will become more and more important in a time where everything gets like mediocre and digitalized.
Yeah.
I think we will go more into an era where things are focused on real life events, personalities, like real people, real experiences, imperfections, because AI makes things perfect, tends to
Yeah.
make things perfect, and people fuck up. And that's the beauty of life, the
Yeah.
fact that nothing is perfect.
There will be also a part of humanity, let's say, that desires things to be real. And the desire, like
Yeah,
it's what I notice with myself if I am on Spotify. And I think we talked about this before. You have the shuffle mode on a certain genre, and it just chooses for you, but it sucks at it. Like it doesn't really get you the new stuff that is by new producers somewhere out there, and you really have to dig for that, which is
yeah,
still possible. But the AI generated stuff will just give you stuff like that's already out there.
yeah,
And I think then you're prone to yourself go look for that stuff again. And
yeah,
I think that's what will happen again. But I do think there will be like the industry will be um, um, hurt by it. So if you talk from an industry perspective, um, I think there will be labels who create music with AI and then have some poster boy or girl doing the DJ gigs for them.
yeah,
And that's how part of it will be. But luckily, I think there will be a big movement against that as well. That's just looking for those little raves, but it will be little raves.
yeah,
And
like
yeah,
niches.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think what we talked about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago as well, about the storytelling that it matters, right, from a track. And last week I heard something that really made me think about that and made me even more exciting about it. As in, let's say you discover a track which is insane and you love it, and then you hear the background story, as in it's built by an AI. To me personally, I'd lose respect and it kind of takes off the flair of the song, to be honest. For me personally. I'm not sure
Hmm.
how that works for
Hmm.
everybody else, but for me, that would kind of take off the flair of things. But what if you would, if you would find a song which you really like, and then you find out that that person is an up and coming artist who has been struggling for his whole life, and now he managed to make his first track, which makes him his first money, and you see his like a video on his Instagram from his first show where people are when where he's giving like autographs and stuff. Like the story of that person adds value to the track, to the content, and same with art as we discussed. And I think that's going to be so much more important in the future, that your story will become so much more important. Like your tracks are still going to be your tracks, but it's the story of you as an artist that's
Yeah.
going to exceed and improve the value of the track.
already now, I think.
Already now,
Already
yeah,
now.
but I think
Yeah.
that's becoming even
And
more and more in the future, to be honest.
yeah, yeah, and that's like that's why if you're starting out, it's important to put yourself out there and put literally and figuratively maybe put yourself out there. And it might sometimes get reactions, you get some hate. But I had this comment and I thought it was funny. I think I took a screenshot on a TikTok. Um, Here, congrats on the loop you made. That's been done around 20 million times before. That's like kind of a hate comment, and
Yeah,
yeah, well, whatever. I thought it was funny because I responded, interesting enough for you to comment on it, which is like, that's the thing, you put yourself out there, you're gonna get some hate, but hey, something's brewing there, People are
yeah,
like, if you get hateful comments, you also have people who love this stuff.
yeah. I also heard this interesting thing last week about the reason why we still watch chess.
Do we?
Yeah, people still watch chess, as it's still a famous sport. Um, and it also is kind of connected to the whole imperfection thing, as in we have computers. Let's say if you want to watch a chess play done by two AIs, it's super boring because
Yeah,
it's going to be perfect.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Every step is going to be perfect because it's well thought of. But the reason why we watch chess and why we watch sports in general is because people fuck up. We
Mhm.
make bad decisions. We fuck up under pressure. We're not perfect, and that's what brings the tension to the sports.
There's a golf robot that, like, on a big tournament made a hole in one, and it's like, oh, everybody's like, oh. But then when a human makes a hole in one,
It's
it's
insane.
a whole other story. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the essence of what I'm trying to say. Like that's what we're not going to lose in the future. As in your personality, you are a human, you will be different from all the other
yeah,
AI music that will be put out. Like sure, parts of the industry will be disappearing or replaced, but as an artist, if your goal is to become a main stage artist, for example, or make a living from your own music, that's still possible. You can still build your own your own audience. You can still host your own parties. Like still possible. And it's hard today. It's going to be hard tomorrow. It's going to be hard a year from now. It's not going to change.
yeah.
End.
The end.
The end. Okay.
I saw someone say, sort of. Jamie Stripes. That sort of sounds like a bleak future.
Hmm.
Yes, I was a little pessimistic because of the lack of sleep. um, no, I don't see it as a bleak future. I think it's just there's inevitable things gonna happen with the music industry because a lot of people that are in it to just make money, and so yeah, things are gonna be exploited. Stuff
Yeah,
definitely like AI.
definitely.
Yeah.
Let's go to
Community questions.
every week we accept questions from our community in Discord. If you're not a member of that Discord community yet, make sure to join it in through the link that is in the description of the podcast. We're happy to have you there. Yeah, together with all the other artists in there. Um, let's go to the first question from Midnight Search. Question for everyone. I'm confused with the content posting on Instagram. I watched a YouTube tutorial when the guy said three types of content should be posted for small artists. One, attraction content. Two, nurturing content. Three, promo content, like 10% of total. Since I don't have an audience yet, what is your advice for me and what an artist like me? My first single is out on SoundCloud, but to build content for social, I overthink a lot. Any suggestions how to get followers and convert them into fans?
Yeah, one big suggestion, and Joey's gonna give the exact same one.
I think we just covered it, but yeah, let's go.
Just post. Just start posting, and
Yep,
you'll figure it out. It's
exactly.
it's really simple. It's You can think of something now, shoot it, edit it, and if your editor is his name is Ed, you can say Ed edited it. No, but like you can you can shoot it now, edit it within a half an hour or an hour, and you have content. So
Yeah,
think of something stupid, see if it works, because yeah, if you're gonna overthink, you're gonna have a whole strategy, and half a year later, you still haven't posted anything. Because also all those lists of like you need these types of content.
Well,
Um,
talking about those
y-
types of content, as a starting artist, I would be focused more on attraction content, as in you still need to attract the audience because there is no audience.
yeah,
So there is no audience to nurture. So you want to focus on posting content that attracts audience, but the most important thing is that you do it from an authentic place. As in, be who you are, don't act, don't be a person you're not, don't become a clown if you're not funny in real life, like all those type of things. And I know that sounds easy, but I know for a fact, I see it in the coaching every day. It's one of the hardest things to do for most people because putting yourself out there is it's scary, because same as releasing a track, what if people don't like me? What if people are going to put hate comments? What if people don't
yeah.
like my nose? What if people don't like my haircut?
The older you get, the easier that gets. I can,
True,
by the way, guarantee. So if you're
true.
20, it's way more of a big thing not being liked than if you're 30. So that is coming from us in our 30s. That is,
Yeah.
it's
Well
easy to
developed
say for us.
persons.
Yeah, no, but it is a big difference.
Well, to
And
be
especially
honest,
if you have kids, you don't give a shit at all anymore what the outside world thinks, or at
no,
least I
you're
don't.
100% right. But to be honest, I still see grown-ups around me struggling with this. So it's not
True,
like
true.
once you're 30, that
No,
stuff is
true,
done.
true, 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 true.
But I do agree that being a DJ definitely helped me with this because you kind of need to develop an elephant skin to not give a fuck, right? Because
Yeah.
otherwise you'll drown in all
Mm-hmm.
those things. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, that's the biggest tip I can give. Post from an authentic place. Uh, Post about what you like and who you are as a person. And once you start building an audience, also make sure that you don't forget about them. So don't only focus about getting new audiences, but also focus on maintaining and nurturing the current
Yeah.
audience because
Um,
that's what some people forget about.
I will say never like the kind of videos that lists like that they always claim to be like some expert, and
Yeah,
this is what you need to do to make it in 2025 because I managed this and this and this. I mean, there is some things in there that are maybe can help, but I think the most important thing is that you figure out what works for you, and in order to do that, you have to try out things
yeah,
that aren't in a YouTube video. And in order to try those things out, you just have to post. It doesn't matter at all. It's what Gary V also always says. Post now. Like it doesn't matter. No one's gonna care about
yeah,
that post that had one view in 5 years. It's like,
yeah. And
yeah.
what the good
Just
news
watch
is?
out with politics, and like, you have to be a bit careful about sensitive subjects. Don't include those because those can come back to haunt you. And if you're from that, you can post a bad joke, like,
Sure.
just
You know,
post.
you know what the good news is for any upcoming artist, any starting artist out there? The fact that we are transitioned from social media to interest media. As in, the fact that you don't have any followers doesn't mean shit anymore. It used to,
True. Yeah.
because you needed followers to create reach. But now you can have zero posts on your account, put out one piece of great content
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
resonates with people, and you will get like 100,000, millions of views.
Yeah.
So the option or the option to create visibility and to build an audience has become even easier these days, but it's evolving more around the content. And yeah, if the content
And
resonates with your audience, yes or no, but it has become easier than ever, to be honest.
but this is my approach. Like, you can think about what will resonate with my audience. That's maybe when you're established, that's something to think of. You kind of like, I would think, this is what I like, my audience likes that. I kind of
Yeah,
sometimes you do some compromise, or something like, they will love it, so I will give it to them. If you're beginning, you can think of it this way: what does resonate with me?
yeah,
What do I think is funny? Because if you like it, there must be millions of others that
yeah,
also like it. Of course, the question is, are you going to find those people? Are they going to find you? Probably not, maybe in the beginning, but just if you like something, there's a big chance that millions of other
yeah.
people will like it as well.
But I do agree what Afrojack's mentioned in that video a couple of weeks ago. Like, yes, you should post from an authentic place and post about what you like and what makes you weird or whatever you want to call it. But it's also very helpful to look at what already works out there in the world, and
Yeah, 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 yeah. But I
and
think,
take
yeah,
that and kind of adapt it to your own
but
version.
that's mostly about music production, and that's a different thing. Where I think posting nowadays, it's the bar is so low. You don't need any edit software. You can edit it
No,
in Instagram. It's crazy.
yeah, true.
We
You have
back in the day, man.
it used to be so hard, man. Wow.
Yeah, I see Michael Foden is very active. And
I love his quote. When you have kids, they give you more shit than any hater could.
true. It's true.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
true. Yeah, it's true. Okay, next question from the executioner. Today, many artists mass produce reels or short videos to promote their songs on social media. Keeping that in mind, should one prioritize producing more content to mass promote them to gain recognition in today's music industry, or should they merely follow the herd?
Um,
Keeping that in
I don't
mind,
really understand.
should one
Should one
prioritize
prioritize
producing?
more content to mass promote,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you
or
mean as
should
well.
one merely follow the herd? I don't understand the question.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll ask if I'm not sure if he's online, but if he can
Yeah.
elaborate. Okay, next up is a question from Ern. Do you always aim to keep everything in the same key? Kicks, synths, leads, bass, etc.
Well, in the same track, yes. Different tracks, no. I don't. I don't believe in one key for all your projects. I think certain melodies work better in a different key. So sometimes I make a melody and um, shift it up or down and see if there's a thing that hits better.
I think
And
Ralph does it, right? Like I believe Ralph does pitch everything to the same key. I'm not sure,
it
but
to yeah, but Ralph is like, if you have something in D, then technically it becomes a different D or E or whatever. It becomes
mm,
a different story with the bass. So then it's better to transpose so that the bass will become more powerful and more easier to mix, stuff like that. That's a bit of a technical thing, but yeah, it's for me melodies. Some melodies work in some keys and some don't. I had sometimes you just try to make a track work even with a bass in D. Um, so yeah,
cool. Okay. I see a
we have a
question.
question from Mikey Foden as well.
Oh, where?
Um, above with the video of me.
Oh, in the Discord.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Um, he said he watched a clip from you where you explained your how you made your track body move, and he
Mhm.
says, "I was watching this clip and noticed this guy using a lot of samples in his track body move. Do you think this is a sign of the death of MIDI?"
And it's definitely not a troll question.
No.
No, definitely not the death of MIDI. And if Ralph was here, we would joke about it because I think there's like two MIDI clips in the whole project. But there is MIDI. I think
Did you render it or like
um,
from MIDI into audio? How does
no,
that?
no, it's a lot of samples.
Okay.
It's like 99% samples in that whole track. But this is a way I always produced. I had my first track that was ever played out by DJ Check Down, was played by Vado Gonzalez, was almost samples as well. Um, no, it's just a different approach for different tracks. And I love using samples, and I think it's gonna be more. Producers are more and more and more going to be sample selectors and sound selectors. I think the skill of developing sounds in a synth, there's going to be fewer people who are very good at it. And I think the yeah, like that craft is, it takes just a lot of time to master, I think, and then to be creative and have good sounds.
Yeah.
And I think new producer, if you start out now, you have something like Splice, yeah, you're just going to be a bit lazy, and you're gonna select the sample. So I think there will be less people who are skilled at making new sounds. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah. So
I
if
think
it's the
Renzo has a
death
good
of
point in the chat.
um, who has a good
What?
point?
Renzo has a good point. He says it's kind of like using presets, in my opinion. You pick a sound you like and just
Yeah,
use it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
the same
exactly.
thing.
It is, and he says unless you're into sound design, and I think that's exactly it. And I think there's no shame in using presets or samples because I also explained it in the part two of that video that it looks like, hey, this is simple. You just put a few samples together, which in the yeah, it does look like that. But it's been thousands of samples, hundreds of samples, maybe thousands a bit exaggerated, but there's been 10, 15, 20 versions of that track and of that drop before I had the right combination of sounds and samples. So it's like, yeah, I think that's what a producer has always been about. It's you're selecting and
Yeah, putting
arranging
the
sounds. Because
yeah,
if you're a big producer from um, like let's say a big rock band, Rick Rubin doesn't play any instruments or synths, but he's a brilliant producer because he selects and unlocks the right
true.
mixture of sounds, I guess.
Um, to Martin and Jamie Strive, yes, we will be hosting another ADE event this year. It's. I think I'm gonna arrange it next month or something. But once we have some news, I'll let you know. We'll definitely be there in some kind of way. I think it's going to be similar to what we've done previous years, but I'm also thinking about taking it up a notch and making something
Bigger
bigger.
venue. Hey.
Yeah, but venues are hard to find and
Yeah, yeah, blah
fucking
blah.
expensive as well.
Here comes the resistance.
No, but I've already dived into it. But since it's ADE, everyone wants to get a venue and stuff, so it's tough. Anyway,
You get a venue. You get a venue. You
yeah,
all get a venue.
I'm looking into it, and I'll let you know once it's there. But we'll definitely be there, even if it's just on the street doing a meetup, as we did in previous years as well, which is fun. We'll be there anyway, so we'll
Artist
see.
coaching festival where Ralph performs as a DJ. Renzo says artist
Yeah,
coaching
that's
festival.
gonna be big. Yeah, that's gonna be big. Does Ralph even know how to DJ?
No, I don't think so. He doesn't look like he would. No, he probably does. He probably does.
Yeah,
But no, why would he? You know, like
yeah, true.
we
Here,
have a new question.
yeah, question from Midnight
Two.
Search. Can you suggest a distributor? Yeah, there are several you can pick from. You have TuneCore, you have DistroKid, you have which one are you using, Jopke?
AWOL.
AWOL. Like there's tons of them. Each has their own set of rules and things you can choose from. So,
Money making
yeah,
methods.
so splits in percentages or flat fees or whatever. So just pick one you're comfortable with and go. I would say. Here's a question from Ern. At what point in producing did you develop good enough ears to hear tiny differences? Like even a simple compressor, sometimes I see people playing with 1 dB
Yeah,
difference, says it's a day and night, but for me, it's zero change.
same.
Yeah, honestly, for most,
People, there's been a whole meme the last 2 months about what you do as a DJ or a producer. It's pretending to hear compression. I've watched many videos on compression, and I use it like with extreme things like a vocal where you really basically you want to get rid of the peaks. But sometimes I see videos and there's like someone putting a compressor on a bass, and there's one video I wish I saved it, but he's like, okay, now we're gonna put some compression on it, and then he's like put the compression on, and it's like, you hear that, and he's like really like enjoying it because he's some kind of like engineer who has yeah, that has the ear for those little
yeah,
details.
and probably insane speakers as well.
Yeah, but like compression and like that kind of stuff, and they're like, oh, it's a big difference. Nah, I don't. I think that's a lot of people trying to look very cool and knowledgeable. But what I'll say is when I bought better speakers, so when I upgraded from like the home speaker where you could hear the phone call coming to KRK speakers, that's when I really started. It was right around the time where I realized, like, oh wait, that actually sounds shitty and
Yeah.
that sounds good.
To
But
be
yeah,
honest, I sometimes hear the difference. and that's probably because that was part of my study on the Rock Academy. I had to listen to a lot of samples and then hear the difference between compressed version and uncompressed version. So I sometimes hear the difference, but to be honest, it's very hard, and most of the times I'll probably miss it. Uh, but yeah, I do hear compression every now and then, depending on which example.
Liar.
Liar!
He also
I call bullshit.
Ernst also asked about with the keys. At what point do you hear
Ah,
that? That's where I believe that's my however you want to call it, let's say God-given talent, where I just hear what notes belong in what key.
yeah,
I can hear some music and I can play or sing notes over it, and I know I hear what works, and I've always had that since I'm a little kid, and I
but that's
think that's
also a
why
skill. That's also a
it's
skill you can
it's
develop because again, going back,
well, I yeah,
yeah, going
you can
back to
train that.
the Rock Academy, I couldn't read any notes, none of it.
Mhm.
And then I trained musical theory for a
Yeah, but
year. Like,
hearing it, it's about
yeah,
hearing
hearing
it.
it. Like
Yeah.
my exam was the teacher sitting across of me, like not I'm not being able to see the keys, and he just did like a 7 key chord, and I had to mention which one it was in 1 year.
Yeah, but that's it's different from there. There's a lot of debate about like absolute hearing and what it is, and Charlie Puth being like, "Oh, this key, that's this key."
Yeah,
I think that is what you can train, but thinking of a melody in your head or on a keyboard that over an existing chord progression is something. Yes, you can train because you can figure out what notes work and what don't, but I think there's a big part of that that,
that's
like I said,
creativity,
for
right?
me, it's just a talent which I have, and
That's
it's
great.
I'm
I
very
think that's
blessed.
creativity. Like,
No, I some people you can hear it in demo drops. Some people really just don't get it yet with melodies, and then you can train it. But if you don't hear it in the first place, it's gonna be really hard. So
yeah,
it's like, but you can train. You can definitely train.
I always struggled to find the right key when I received vocals, and I had to find out which key it was. Like going on the key, well, like like, oh, it's still so hard for me.
Yeah,
Um,
easy for me, man.
what?
Easy for me, man.
Yeah, you're so talented. You're oh so
No,
talented
but what I do think is like it's a talent that I've exploited. It's like
and
it's
developed.
and developed, yeah, for sure. But that's the thing. You have to find your talents a little bit. And also, I'm not very good with good drops or like I don't always get the drops that I want. So what do? I call up with bass checkers, for example. You have to know your strengths, and
It's funny because I had the exact other way around. Like I was
yeah.
great at drops and I sucked at breaks.
Well, we should if you ever come back into
I'm actually
the music
considering
industry.
I'm actually considering it to pick it up just for fun, but somehow like I still go to Call of Duty. You know, it still has priorities right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe in the future, I'm not saying no. I think there will be a time where I will come back or at least do music for fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Renzo says you can train relative pitch.
Relative pitch.
Absolute pitch, you have to be born with
Oh,
it.
I'll probably have relative pitch then. Like I'm pretty good at
Yeah,
figuring it out now, but
I'm pretty sure I have absolute hearing, but if you press a note, I can't tell you if it's a G or whatever, but I could learn that. But yeah, how do you I don't think absolute hearing is, oh, you can name the notes. That's just a kind of the trick you can do with that, if you
yeah,
know what I
because
mean.
you still have to learn which
Yeah,
key is what note, right? Like
yeah.
it's
And I
not
think
like you're being
from
born
being a
with it.
kid, I got a keyboard. I don't know anything about any music thing. I can just replay a melody and play things that work.
True.
Um, but yeah,
True. Um, Let me check the screen if there was anything we missed.
someone is the executioner is typing, so who knows?
Oh, in the chat. Um, I think we mentioned it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did pretty good for being so
To be honest,
tired.
I expected way less from this.
Yeah,
Like my energy level was close to zero.
same. I had a coffee that
Um,
helped.
yeah, coffee doesn't help me to stay awake or something. it just brings me in that weird vibe where you feel your body is like pumping and your brain says go to bed. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
real
yeah.
disconnect there. A question from the executioner. So basically, I see some artists who post a lot of reels or shorts on social media, which are in more quantity than the number of songs they have released. Now, considering today's scenario of music industry and marketing, for someone who's new to music production or someone who makes music but promotes less and thus gets less attention to their songs, if they want to start promoting their songs, it can get quite overwhelming to put in more effort, quality, and time to make reels such that they are quite catchy, and as a result they are under pressure, more pressure, and
Yeah,
lose time to make more quality songs.
I think I know. I know what he's saying. Kind of. He's saying
Okay.
like he's spending a lot of time making music, so he doesn't have much time for the promotion and making the reels as like the professionals do or like the bigger artists do. So he's like, should I spend more time m- in that instead
Oh,
of
he
making
finalizes
music?
the, he here he said, like, having said that, is it better for those kind of people to keep making songs and don't bother much about promoting them,
Yeah.
or should they give time to promoting them on social media as much as possible to grow their fan base efficiently?
Well, it's one of those things where that's time management, but also like what you're assuming in your question is that it takes a lot of effort to create catchy and viral reels. And I think if you have more time to work on those reels, yes, you have more chance of making catchy reels, but you don't necessarily need to. The production value doesn't need to be high at all for you to
Yeah,
go viral with a thing.
and I
And
think what
I do think music always comes first. You have to have the music, but there is time next to that to
yeah,
create a lot of content. It's not an excuse like, oh, I have all the I need all the time for making music. Like I said, the bar is really low to produce really
yeah.
good content.
And I think what you should always have in the back of your mind, like, you can make music as much as you want, but if nobody hears about it, then, like, if you're not making it for yourself, you want to build a career from that, like, you need people to listen to your music, so you
Yeah,
need to
but it's
reach a crowd in some kind of
yeah,
way.
and it's what I don't agree with in the question. It's like it takes so much time and effort
Yeah, that's not
to
true.
create it. It's not true.
No.
You work in the studio. Let's say you have to go home at 5 o'clock. It's 4:30. You made something that day. You take your phone. You film. Hey guys, I made this today. Check it
Yeah,
out. If you do that every day from what you made, I'm pretty sure something will be good. It can take a year, but that's already 365 songs, you know? Or
yeah,
hey, I
true.
worked on this project again today. What do you guys think? Eventually, if the music's good enough, it will start rolling. In fact, I would love to see that. I would love to see someone where I could go back a year and see then it sounded like that and now it's
Yeah,
sounding like this. So
because it's
maybe
about that story again, right? Like, you want to see a
yeah.
starting and an improvement. If
Yeah, and
you
in the beginning I'd have two views and one comment,
Yeah,
which is from your brother or your mother or a friend in high school, and then who knows where it can go. So I think
true.
that's one of those things again. Just post it. Don't overthink. Work harder on the content when you can, but in the foundation you need the music, and you don't need much time to post about that music.
True. Let's end it right there. Do you have anything to shill this week?
My new track, Body Move, is out now. It's been out since Friday. Yeah.
Cool. How's it going? Because I really like the song.
Yeah, it's a bit less than the other two songs I released independently, but I don't think um oh no, it's pretty good actually. Yeah,
Okay.
13,000 streams.
Okay.
That's pretty decent for me. But I don't that's good, but I don't really look at it that way. I more see comments and like I
Yeah, like,
posted about it and then I see like, hey, this track, and I hear people outside of
yeah.
social media about it, and like you saying, I actually like that one.
Yeah, I like it. Definitely.
That's that's for me amazing feedback.
Cool.
So
Okay.
Go stream
I've,
it, and yeah.
I've got one more shill, and that is the fact that you might listen to this podcast every week and you might not realize, but we actually do coaching, personal coaching for artists. We talk about bullshit every week in this episode, but we also help artists to build their careers and help them become successful. And maybe even more important, stay successful once they are. So if you are interested in getting a one-on-one personal coaching program with one of us, make sure to go to the website and check it out there. All the information you need is in there. That's it for me. I have some news for next week because we have a guest next week. It's gonna be pre-recorded because we weren't able to find a time because he's from LA, so it's gonna be hard to match time zones. It's gonna be Henry Fong.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
news to me. That's nice.
yeah. I just fixed it last night, and I'm gonna record it actually in an hour. So if you want to join Joppe, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, definitely if I can make it.
Yeah, it's in an hour from now, 4 o'clock. So
Oh
we're
yeah,
gonna,
today.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't
we'll
think I
see.
can make it then.
We'll stream it next week. And thanks again for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our pages. Share it with your music buddies, your school, like all the people who are interested in this. And we hope to see you guys next week in the live stream or in the Discord community throughout the week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye bye.